Hey worship leaders, this video is specifically to help you with worship cues. These are signals that allow you to seamlessly get from the beginning of a song to the end of the song. Couple tricks of the trade. The sooner you can give the signal, the better. Obviously you don't want it to be too early because then it's like, well, why is this person's hand up? But you also don't want them to be given too late because then folks will get confused, the set will get jumbled, and you already know the rest. So I'll share some cues with you to get through the music. I'll also share some cues for your singers, and I'll give you some demonstrations by way of one of my old worship sets. So check it out. First things first, let's say you have already started the song, you're somewhere else in the song, and you want to go back to the top. All you have to do is put a hand over your head that signifies top of the song. Some people pat, some people don't. Really doesn't matter. Just keep your hand over your head, and that tells people from where we are currently, we're going to go back to the beginning. If you want to move from section to section, let's say from a verse to a chorus or a chorus to a bridge, all you have to do is throw your thumb back. That tells people we're going to the next section. Now, one thing about this is that you've got to give these signals in a way that are visible to others and clearly recognized. So if you're a more timid person, gotta toughen up, tighten up, and make sure it's very clearly stated that you're going to the next part. I'm keeping my cues close to my head right now because I want them to be in frame. But on stage, everybody's got to be able to see it. Some churches have the benefit of a talkback system, which is where the MD can talk to all of the musicians and sometimes the singers if they have it in their mix. And so as long as the MD gets the cue, then you're good. He or she will communicate it to the rest of the group. But not every church has that. So it's going to be even more important that you, the leader, give very clear cues to tell people where you're going next, okay? So that's moving from section to section. Let's say you are currently in a section and you want to stay there. You want to loop it again. All you have to do is do a loop in the air, and that will tell everyone that we're going to run that again. Easy peasy. Let's say you want to add a special part to the song, or you have a special part that's added and you want to go there. It's not the verse, it's not the chorus, it's not anything within the original structure and cadence of the song. What I do for me and my MD is I cross my fingers and say, we're going to the special part. Others may use this for something else, specifically to the singers, but for me and my band, this is a special part, okay? Lastly, let's say you want to end the song. Fist in the air, simple as that. Sometimes I'm known to give it off to the side, but either way, a balled up fist is what typically means you're ready to end the song. This is extremely important to give within enough notice so that you can come to a seamless ending. Hard crashes are not fun. They're pretty obvious, and they make for a pretty difficult landing. So give enough notice that you're ready for the song to end so that everybody can come to the end together, okay? Now, when I work with my singers specifically, most of my sets have a mixture of unison and harmony, and I try to distinguish when I want one or the other. So when I'm looking for unison, I typically just give a 1 that tells them sing in one voice, sing in one part. If there are octaves, like a higher note and a lower note within a given octave, I will give that notice up front. Like, we won't even talk about it on stage. It will be discussed ahead of time so that everyone knows when I'm saying perfect unison, where everyone is at the same pitch, or where I'm saying octaves where there's a higher or lower octave. So 1 is for unison. When I'm ready to go in 3 parts, if you've seen me live, you typically see me throw a 3 like this. Either or is fine, but I'm telling them to go into 3 parts so that they know it's time for harmony. And if we're already in a harmony and I'm looking to invert it to a higher harmony or a higher inversion of that harmony, you will see me flip my pinky and thumb to say flip your notes up. I don't typically invert down. I usually only invert up. So you'll see this, and that tells them to go from a lower register to a higher register. Also very important because a pet peeve of mine is when you got the soprano and tenor singing the same note because somebody missed the cue to invert their harmony. And I think that is it, but nevertheless, we can go through an example that I have, which is a set that I did in 2021 at Glory DC. So let's walk through this. You can see these cues in action, and you can also use it as a reference to practice. Shall we?
Lord, I love you. with my whole heart. I will bless you. Everybody sing. Lord, I love you. I adore you. I adore.
Saw that I gave the 3. That 3 was to my singers to let them know to not just come in, but come in 3 parts.
Adore with my whole heart. With my whole heart. I will bless you. I will bless you. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love you. I adore you. I adore you. With my whole heart. With my whole heart. I will bless you.
You see the signal now that I'm giving to my MD to go to the chorus. I'm keeping this one pretty close to me because I'm bringing the chorus in. The singers aren't necessarily doing that. So I'm telling the MD, let's move to the next part so he and I can be on the same page.
I will bless. This part's real simple. And it says, hallelujah. That's it. Hallelujah. Will you sing it with me? Hallelujah. There you go. Hallelujah. Yeah. Come on, join in. So we sing.
So I gave a cue to my singers, 3, so they come in harmony.
Hallelujah. And we sing. Hallelujah.
I want to give some special attention to this. There are going to be times where you need to cue your sound engineer for things that need to be different in your mix. In this instance, I couldn't hear my alto, so I was telling him to turn her up. She happened to be on mic too, had her turn her up. So there are signals for you and your band and singers. There are also signals for you and the sound person. I don't have a set definition of them, but I try to communicate pretty effectively. And if I can't get in touch with the sound engineer, I will tell my MD, and my MD, God bless him, will also help to communicate to the sound engineer.
And we sing hallelujah. So we sing hallelujah. Come on, lift it up. Sing, Lord, I love, Lord, I love. I adore you. I adore you. With my whole heart. With my whole heart. I will bless you. I will bless you. Lord, I love you. Lord, I love. I adore you. I adore you. And with my whole heart. With my whole heart. I will bless you. I will bless you. Everybody say, so we sing hallelujah. Lift your hands, sing hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. We sing.
So we're doing that chorus again. I gave the signal to loop it.
Keep going, everybody. Hallelujah. Yeah. Give God a high praise. Hallelujah. Sing hallelujah. Come on, we're going to take it back for a second.
So we're headed into the next section, but we are also going into a special part. So I gave my MD the cue to go out to the next part, but go to the special specifically.
This song says, hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power unto the Lord our God. For the Lord our God is mighty. Yes, the Lord our God is omnipotent. The Lord our God, He is wonderful. Everybody say, hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power unto the Lord our God. For the Lord our God is mighty. Yes, the Lord our God is omnipotent. The Lord our God, He is wonderful. Sing that again. Come on, everybody say hallelujah. Shout.
Now, you don't see this at this point of the video because the camera's on my soprano. But at this point, I am telling them go into 3 parts. Even though I'm telling them we're going to do it again, we're going to do it again, but in 3 parts. Okay?
Salvation and glory, honor and power to the Lord our God. For the Lord our God is mighty. Yes, the Lord our God is omnipotent. The Lord our God, He is. So we sing hallelujah. So we sing hallelujah.
don't see this on camera, but at this point I have told my MD we're moving on to the next part because the feel of the song changes a little bit.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Come on, you say it. Hallelujah.
Take note of this. We're about to change keys. If there's any signal that you absolutely need to be clear about is if you're going to change keys. So I usually give a thumbs up that says go to the next key to my MD. And it also signals my singers to make sure they come in on the right pitch because they're about to come in on harmony.
Take it up, sing, Lord, I love. With all of my heart. Lord, I love. It's not just a song, but how I feel. Lord, I love. Let my life say I love you. Lord, I love. One more time, sing hallelujah.
So now we're about to go back into the original chorus of the song. That's where we signal to go back.
Come on, with one big voice. So we sing hallelujah, and you sing. Yes, you sing. And we sing. Everybody in the room sing hallelujah. You're worthy, Lord. Hallelujah. You're righteous, you're awesome, you're true. Hallelujah. We sing.
So we're about to move into the next part of the medley, which is a totally different song, totally different tempo, etc. I'm signaling to my MD I'm ready to transition out. So in all of these cues, it's really to help everybody navigate the space. Now, this video is for worship leaders, but if you are not a worship leader, but you sing on a worship team, it's also critical that you pay attention to what's going on. I understand you want to get up there and worship and fall out, which is fine by all means. But as a unit, it's important that everybody pays attention to the cues and is ready to go where the worship leader is going. Okay? So many of these cues, like I said, can be done by hand. There's nothing wrong with speaking these cues too, right? You heard me say a few times, keep going, or let's do that again, or let's go to the special part. It does not deter the worship experience. It does not take away from the performance aspect of it either. It just keeps the communication channels clear, open, and understandable. So that's all that I have for you. I'm sure we'll do more videos like this just to make sure my worship leaders are in tip-top shape. But in the meantime, happy growth to your teams and your communication. All right, y'all.